Welcome to the CSA video tour for the spring 2015 semester. CSA stands for Class Synthesis and Assessment, and it is one of 3 assignments that you will have to do this semester. The CSA has a number of different components. When you submit the CSA, you will submit the draft, the review notes that you received from your peer reviewer, the final draft of the CSA, and you will also post it on Blackboard so that other students can see it. Also, you will need to respond to two reflection questions on Blackboard, so please don't forget that aspect and don't lose points on that part. Once you post it on Blackboard, other students will be able to see your notes and your analysis of a given class. So once everybody is done doing their CSAs, we will have a very detailed, almost textbook-like style of notes for the whole semester that you and other students can use to study for the midterms or the finals. So let's take a look through the CSA components. First, we have the class synthesis. So when you are responsible for a class to do your CSA, you will take very detailed conceptual level notes of what actually happened in the class. Conceptual level means that you're not just looking at the procedures that we did or the problems that we solved. You're not looking at their what and the how, but you're looking at the why we're doing something, what the connections are, why each step of the process works. Any questions that we may have asked, any questions that you saw your group struggling with, all of those things will go into your detailed conceptual level notes. This may or may not happen during class. Often students find that they need to go home after the class and flesh out their notes with step-by-step explanations to make them complete. The length of this section varies. Some students will be able to explain the class in detail within 3 to 4 pages. Some students take longer. Feel free to include anything that you feel is needed to make real sense of the class. So this could be diagrams, could be tables, could be photographs, snapshots that you took of the border of your work that you're cutting and pasting into your work. Any of that you think is helpful. So think about someone who was not in class, or maybe yourself 4 months later, looking at this work and making real sense of what had happened in this class. Also make sure that you include announcements made in class just for those students that may have missed that part, and any activate or ticket to leave questions with a potential answer that you think would receive the full credit. Also in this section, you're going to take a look at the standards for math practice, which we would have discussed in class. They're also posted on Blackboard. So what you need to do is you need to list the 8 standards for mathematical practice in your paper. You will then choose one of the mathematical standards for mathematical practice that you think was most central to our discussions. There's always overlap, and you will always be able to find more than one. So you want to choose the one that was most central and explain why you think it was so. Also, you want to be looking at the 2 most meaningful connections between the materials, between the material that we talked about in class and anything else that you can think of. So you may be connecting it to other mathematics. You may be looking at either in other courses or in our course that we had talked about prior to this, or other subject or real life or teaching, for example. One of the connections must be from the material in this course. So here, there are some examples of what kinds of questions you might ask yourself, and this section is not very long. It's about 5 to 7 sentences for each of the 2 connections. Finally, this is the second part of the CSA, and that is the assessment part. The assessment is also split into 2. One is procedural knowledge and one is conceptual understanding. We can assess students' procedural knowledge, or we can assess students' conceptual understanding, and we do that in different ways. So your responsibility for this section is to define what procedural knowledge is. Make sure you cite your sources, and those should be original sources, so articles or mostly articles, and I have posted a couple of them online that you can use. You will then have to write one problem or task that you think will be appropriate for students to test students' procedural knowledge. You can be creative, you can search online, again, cite your sources, but it needs to be a task that is specifically targeted to assess procedural knowledge. You will have to write a complete solution, and that could be used for someone grading the student work. The second part will be conceptual understanding. So again, you will just define conceptual understanding using some original sources. You will write a problem or a task that will assess students' conceptual understanding of the material. Again, you can be creative. You can take a look online. Be very careful to go when you go online, since many of the problems online aren't actually testing conceptual understanding. They're looking at procedural knowledge. There is also a useful resource that is on Blackboard that provides you some cues or some prompts for beginning questions for conceptual understanding. And that is called assessment questions prompts. Once you have chosen your task, you will have to write a complete solution for the assessment problem, including how you might look at distributing the points if you were grading the work. And finally, you will need to explain why you think that this task focuses on conceptual understanding rather than procedural knowledge. And again, the length of these sections are actually noted in the guideline. The formatting and submission details are important as part of your CSA assignment. First of all, when you're writing the CSA assignment, you need to make sure that you're using the Microsoft Word template, so that everybody's paper looks consistent. So when one of the students is looking at notes for different classes, looking back in the semester, they know what to expect and they can see where each of the sections of the CSA can be found. It also helps me in grading. It shows you the distribution of points that are associated with each section, and it shows you the rubric at the end. But I'll let you know more about the CSA template after we finish this document and go to examine the template document. When you are working on the CSA, please make sure not to use the .pages document that is associated with the Mac computers, because those are not universally openable. A lot of the students won't be able to access that document, and we want to make sure that we make these CSAs available to everybody. Once you are saving your document, you want to make sure that you save it using the same structure name, file name as everybody else. So you will be using a format that consists of the date in month dash day dash year dash last name first initial dot docx or doc or PDF. So once you've done that, you're all set to submit. The submission also has a number of components. Please make sure you don't miss any of those out. In class, on the due date of the CSA, you will submit to me the first draft of your CSA that you submitted to your peer reviewer. The peer reviewer comments, including the rubric, and again, I'll show you the template for those, and the final draft of your CSA. You will clip them or staple them together, and you will hand those in to me in hard copy. By midnight of the same day that your CSA is due, you will do a number of other things. You will post your CSA on Blackboard, on the Blackboard CSA discussion forum. When you do that, you need to start a new thread that you will name the same way that you named your document, 1-22-2015-Sabinin P, for example. So in other words, it'll be the month, dash the date, dash the year, dash your last name, first initial. You will then write the main topic of the class that you analyzed in the message box, and then attach your document in either .doc, .docx, or PDF format. And again, remember, no .pages. So then that completes your submission of the CSA, and now all the students in the class can view it. When you are done with that, you still need to submit the CSA reflection questions on Blackboard, and this will require you to thoughtfully answer 2 questions. What permanent benefit am I supposed to get out of this exercise, and did I get it, why or why not? Think deeply through these questions. There's more here that meets the eye, and you really want to think about what was the point of this whole activity. Now let's take a very quick look at the 2 templates that you will be working with. for the CSA. The first template is for the author. So when you're beginning to write your CSA, you will open up this template. It's a .docx document that you can find in the CSA writing file on Blackboard. So in the top here, you will enter in your information, the name, course and section number, the dates of the CSA, and the due date and the submission date. And also you will circle whether this particular copy is a rough draft or a final draft. And then you will see that the sections of the CSA are represented here with the points, maximum points that I will be using to grade the work. So for example, in the detailed conceptual level notes section, that section is out of 10 points, and I will circle the number of points that I believe your work deserves. When you're ready to write the conceptual level notes, you will highlight the write your text here, and then start typing in your own text. You can format that any way you'd like. You can insert pictures into here. If you're running into any problems with this, please let me know. You will do exactly the same thing for the rest of the sections. Now on the last page, you will also see that some grades will be awarded to formatting or submission details, and if your CSA is late, the number of classes that it is late and the deductions that are associated with that number of classes. Finally, at the bottom, you will see that how I will score each of the sections. So depending on whether the section is out of 10 points or 5 points, a very good solid work will receive full grade. Exemplary work that I will be able to use as model for other students will get a 0.5 point bonus. Finally, all the way down to emerging and or no credit. Finally, as a peer reviewer, you will be using the CSA peer review template. This again is in Word format, and you will need to use that in order to provide thoughtful feedback to the author about how to improve their CSA. So again, at the top, consistent with the other template, you will see some of the information that you will need to fill in. You will need to write your notes in the boxes that are provided below and return them to the author in a prompt way so that they can incorporate your comments into their final draft. You will receive a grade for the quality of your review, and the template for this will be shown below here. So again, you'll see that there are the same sections that you will have seen in the CSA, and your comments could go right in here. Don't be dismayed at the fact that the boxes are so small. They will expand with your text, so make sure that you put a full response to the author's work into these sections. Make sure that your work is complete and it is useful for the author in improving their CSA. As I said, in the last page will show you the rubric for the CSA peer review. This rubric needs to be attached when you submit your peer review and to the author, and it explains to you the kinds of grades that I'm looking at. Again, very good will receive full grades, 5 out of 5. Exemplary work will receive a bonus of 0.5 on this assignment. This will count as part of your CSA grade, as well as will be beneficial to your peer